Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a Flesh and Blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Abby, Jordan, and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Abby, and I am your host. Along with me, I have Logan and Jordan, as always. So, Logan, what did you do in Flesh and Blood this week?
For the first time, and since the recording of this podcast started, I went a week without playing a single game of Flesh and Blood. Yesterday I was working, our normal Saturday, I was working my magic vending job. And Thursday, my car's engine exploded. And while I was driving back from a couple hours away and did not make our Thursday night game. So I did stone cold nothing outside of do some collection organization.
Yeah, yikes. That's everybody in the Discord was following along with that. Or in the Iowa Discord anyway, was following along with that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing when all of a sudden your engine is in pieces under your hood and you're driving your car. That's not where you want to be.
Spooky.
Yay!
I'm alive though. That's all good.
Yeah, from what I understand, they are going to resolve it as well as possible, right? Like the warranty's going to cover it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, warranty covers it. I get an actual brand new 0 miles engine in my car.
So you actually come out ahead?
I mean, yeah, theoretically, yes. I'm
in some weird way, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I did not play any in-store Flesh and Blood, but I did play a couple of testing games with some people here locally and from our Discord, which that's the thing that happens now. People are finding games on our Discord. So if that is something that interests you, more than willing to jump in here and ask if there's a game going on. I'm kind of in this weird place where I don't know what I want to play at all. I kind of just picked a random list on FabDB, took out the band cards, put in some other ones, and played. And it was fun. It was fun to do. Otherwise, I worked on the cube that we're building. Abby and I did some work on that last night. I opened a Findel Spring Tunic when I was cracking some packs. That was lucky. I highly recommend being lucky. Other than that, not a whole lot, but Ab, what did you get up to?
I don't remember if I played any games or not, which is probably a no then. But Jordan and I did some cube stuff. We were degens and popped some WTR boxes, and then I did some card sorting last night.
I need to know, for my purposes, who actually opened the tunic.
I did.
Jordan did.
That
first one. Yeah,
that sounds impossible because Jordan runs ice cold.
Yeah,
opening packs.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was so excited. Like kid on Christmas excited. I talked about it for an hour.
Did you do a lap?
I did not do a lap.
He did not do a lap, but I did not believe it at first. I thought he was joking.
Yeah, no, dude, when I say excited, I mean excited. Like for an hour afterwards, I was like, "Did you see that I opened a tunic?" And like, I took a picture, posted it in the Discord, and like, I mean, like, it's like I don't know. I was
it was the Brian Kibler in the Richmond hotel bar after you had 3-4 Locos instances of excited, huh?
Oh God, I don't know if anything will ever catch that level. I'll have to tell that story sometime.
Yeah, the only reason I remember it is because it came up yesterday at dinner. So,
oh God, who told you that? Who brought it up?
Medanic, Steve. Yeah, he brought it up because as we were talking about the podcast with somebody who doesn't play, but just we were describing how we met and everything else, and that weekend in general came up because there's a lot of like very important life things that happened over that course of a week that Steve and I were in Indianapolis and Columbus. And, part of that was meeting you. And then he was trying to describe your personality, and he kind of brought up, he's like, yeah, Logan, you can just tell the Kibler and the Richmond bar story. I'm like, oh God. Yeah, I sure can.
We'll tell that story for the outtake section.
Yeah.
That's-
We'll put it as a stinger.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. So make sure you listen to the very end. But it is a banger, and it captures my personality to a T. So I'm glad Danny brought that up. That's great.
That was great. It was a good time. I needed to laugh, and it's really hard not to tell that story without dying laughing.
Or being mortifiedly embarrassed, depending on what side of the table you're on.
My side's funny.
Oh, it's just my side that's embarrassed. That's
Correct.
Good. Oh, good.
Oh,
sorry,
boy.
Ab. We'll quit the rambling of better days gone by.
No, I think Abby's never heard this story, and so she's gonna.
No, I absolutely have heard this story.
Okay, perfect.
It is Mike Kenny's favorite story to tell of me.
Yes.
So we've done a lot of announcing and an announcement, but you got to listen to it at the very end.
All right, so let's move on. So we've got some more spoilers coming in for Everfest. The Ice Wizard was correct.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it.
Icelander. Hold on, I gotta find a bigger version of this card so I can tell you what it does. Why is it not getting bigger? Okay.
That's smaller when you click on it from the thing.
Yeah, I was like, this is counterproductive. If it's not your turn, you may play non-attack action cards with blue color stripes from your arsenal as though they were an instant. And whenever you play an ice card during an opponent's turn, create a frostbite token.
Yeah.
This leads to some really interesting gameplay.
It does. A lot of people were sort of hyper fixated on the ice cards you can do fun things with. I know Blizzard spiked because playing that out of your arsenal and frostbiting somebody is just super punishing. I read it and was more focused on, so wait a second, I get to have a turn and then arsenal an energy potion and draw up and then play the energy potion on my opponent's turn and have the extra from my turn. Yeah,
I'm here for that. I'm
into this. Or time snap potion, and I just get to have extra action points next turn.
There's some really cool cheat a free action point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in that.
It might be too slow. I don't want to get too in the weeds on Icelander, but it might be too slow for Blitz.
Yeah.
I watched a video. So Fabrica, I think, is the name of the YouTube channel. It's two Russian dudes that do gameplay videos, and they're very well done. They're very good. But they played Icelander against. I actually don't even know who it was. But
I think it was Bravo.
Was it Bravo? And Bravo just bonked them, and she just got behind. And now, granted, there's going to be cards in Everfest that make this better, and
right.
Yeah, we don't have all the total picture, but they played a game and. My thought was, he did some really cool things on his turn, but it was still pretty slow. Or no, it was Kano.
It was Kano. Oh god, it does. It does kind of lead me to believe that the Fabled in Everfest is going to be a landmark that cares about blue color strips. Because it kind of follows the same templating as Library of Solana caring about yellow color strips that are specific to a hero in Monarch. So, or heroes, I should say, in Monarch.
That makes sense.
So that's where my brain went with that. I'm like, because the best we can do with this is we don't have any of Icelander's specific cards to look at or to talk about or know what they're going to get up to outside of, the things we already know, which, there's some fun stuff in there. I'm just thinking about it and going, wait a second. So the last time we had something that really cared about color strip, we ended up with a Fable based on it. Maybe they're going to do that, run that back. And I wonder what that looks like. I mean, I don't know. Although the fact that Prism is what it is with Library of Solana is scary enough. But, this is only Blitz or whatever. It would kind of play more into the casual aspect as Blitz is. I mean, it's a skirmish format. Blitz is competitive, but most of the time it's, for your armories and stuff like that at the highest levels. And so Blitz kind of feels like the casual competitive format, right? That's your FNM format, more or less.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. And she'll definitely see play early. I'm excited to see people do cool stuff with her. So
it has 2 more health than Kano too.
true.
Yeah, you can take 1 more hit.
Boop.
Right in the right in the snoot.
Right in right in your Icelandic snoot.
Yep. Just boop.
Jesus.
And then the next card that we got is Macho Grande. There's all 3 color variants of these. It is a Guardian attack action with Dominate.
And the alters of this are already incredible.
Already great.
The one in our Discord was amazing.
The Macho Man Randy Savage version of it is my personal favorite so far, followed by the Chips and Queso version, I think is the...
Yeah. The Mexican
the
food one was probably my favorite one.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, perfect. But I think the most important part of this card is that it has a version that is blue, that blocks for 3, that attacks for 8. That's it.
It's just a good card.
Yeah, that's all it needs to do for Bravo to care is check some boxes. It's blue, blocks for 3. If they don't do anything and you have 2 blues in this, with a Seismic Surge, you just get to 8 Dominate. It's Dominate, right?
8 Dominate.
Yeah, you just get to 8 Dominate. And yeah, what's not to love? I mean,
yeah.
And the art is fantastic. So overall, this is just one of those you look at it and like, wow, this is a solid common. And I'm super glad that we never, ever have to draft this set.
Because
this card would
be a bear.
Absolutely miserable to play against, especially in multiples.
Yes, it would be.
First thing I saw, I'm like, wow, this is busted and limited. Right.
I don't have to. Yeah.
Got it. They can do that for this set.
And I guess I didn't even think about that when I think about like support sets, that they get to print these cards that would ruin a limited format.
Yeah, that would just be an absolute shit show for limited.
Like, this card's an important role player in Bravo for sure, but it doesn't like break in Classic Constructed, whereas it would literally ruin the concept of limited.
Yeah, somebody ends up with 3 blues of these and a yellow in limited.
Yeah. Like, well, that's the ball game, right?
Yeah, that doesn't feel good at all. So no, like I said, just generically reading it, I'm like, oh, good card is good. Cool. And glad it's a common, because if this was a Majestic, a blue Majestic, it would probably just cost all the money for the Bravo players, which, having Bravo players take it on the chin a couple of times cost-wise would feel nice, but, I say that as somebody that has Bravo built sitting in my bag of decks, so it's not like I haven't experienced
the person in your time, yeah.
Right. The bonkings, it's just, I also... in totality of games of Flesh and Blood lost, have lost to Bravo more than any other deck.
That does kind of put a bad taste in your mouth with it. So, totally get it.
Yeah, it's more so. The gameplay. I mean, I get, and when I get beat by Bravo, it is getting fucking high rolled by Bravo. Just them looking at their hand, shrugging, and going, okay, turn 1 Crippling Crush, I guess. Right. That's fair and balanced. God, glad Fox News was in here. So, that's happened more than once from the same player. So, that does leave the feel bad. At one point in time, I even brought Prism in for Classic Constructed, so a knife to a gunfight in a Briar meta, just so I didn't lose to Bravo, and I did not lose to Bravo at that point. So that felt fine.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what else we get this week. We record this on Sunday, so if something comes out Monday or Tuesday morning and you're like, what the hell, why didn't they talk about this card? It's because we don't do we record in the past.
We can only predict so much of the future.
Yeah, we don't live in the future. We record in the past.
We record in the past, of course, yeah.
However, I mean, I honestly think that if we get a giant deluge of insane spoilers, like one of the legendaries and a couple of Majestics, I mean, we've already broken the glass on the emergency fapping, so an EPOD is not beyond us.
Yeah. Like, if it's something absolutely unsettling, we'll definitely be in your earbuds.
Yeah, definitely want to make sure your earballs are ready.
Speaking of emergency fapping, if you are looking for an update on the bands that came out, we did a special segment for that. So hop over there to listen to that, so you can hear the breakdown and our thoughts on that.
It'll just be right under this one in your podcast player.
With Pro Tour semifinalist Dagan White.
That's right.
Yeah. You
Best
get to
known
hear
for-
somebody way better than us. So.
Yeah, best known for playing Briar at the right time, as he puts it. Like that's not my words. Those are really his words. So
I think he actually says that in the show, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
like, it kind of just says, yeah, draft was a little difficult. Limited was where all my losses were classic constructed. I didn't have to try. It's like, yeah. Welcome to what Briar does. Way to play the best deck.
All right, so we got some additional ProQuest details for the upcoming season. So prize package, the top 8 minus the winner get a cold foil hero, and then the winner gets a gold cold foil, which could be anything including weapons, correct?
Yeah, any equipment. So any of the legendary armor pieces and any of the weapons, I believe.
Yep.
And then 2 ProQuest playmats to the top 2, and then the 7 cold foils. We did that. And then the winner gets the Pro Tour invite. If they already have one, it goes to second place.
Quickly, can I describe in detail what the ultimate feel bad would be
Yes.
for this? You win this event, you're handed the LSS envelope, you're so excited, you pop it, you start thumbing that card up a little bit, you see the gold foil and everything feels great, you see a little hint of blue and you're like, yeah, give it to me, and then you see the harmonized Kodachi and realize it's only one.
Oh no, they wouldn't do that, right?
They would absolutely do that.
Oh god.
Yeah. And then I'm like, I have to go win another one? Are you kidding?
My god.
And hope the random gets me right?
Yeah, and hope I also get a Kodachi. Oh god.
Get wrecked.
That'd be so gross, dude.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. I can't
It wouldn't even sell for that much because like of that. Right? Like,
yeah, it's just the ultimate feel bad of getting that black envelope and be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm now a couple $1,000s richer, or I'm just my swag game's on point and I have Un Kodachi. Oh no.
oh, gross. I'm excited to actually track and see when these end up coming out to see how much gold foil Kodachis go for.
Yeah, a gold foil Anathos would actually be super sweet.
Do those exist right now?
They will.
Well, because like I know that national stuff was random too, right?
Right, but they didn't have weapons until now.
Oh, okay. This is the first time with weapons.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
It was
I
all
see.
armor prior.
I see. Okay.
It's and I've seen some in person and they're just gorgeous, including a part of the Ram set with a giant ding on the bottom of it. But to be fair, I think that ding showed up in shipping. So, but they're gorgeous. They're just eye catching.
The thing about this announcement that kind of troubles me is the way that they said like the 2022 will be starting off with our inaugural season of in-store ProQuest events. That makes me think we are not going to get a Q1 calling. As we are halfway through January.
Yeah.
And these run from February 19th to March 13th. It's very unlikely that we're going to get a Q1 big event.
I outside of SCG cons, I agree.
Yeah.
Somebody's trying to talk me into playing one of the seats in the Magic Trios event in Indy, and I'm like, I will do that if the Flesh and Blood event is on Sunday. But otherwise, no. But we don't know what that event is or when it is or anything else yet either. Like we have very little information yet again on what these things are, but at least we do know we get to show up in a room full of a ton of people and play Flesh and Blood at a fairly high level. I mean, at least we know that. Right. But that feels like that's their calling replacement, and we're not going to get any Q1 callings.
Yeah. Part of me thinks that a lot of this could be contingent just to on like Omicron COVID developments, like venues and like government regulations are like so in flux that maybe that is like didn't feel like they could schedule a thing, especially being like a foreign company.
Yeah, I mean that could be that's true.
That's my like fingers crossed hope for the best version.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I also so I don't think we're getting a call in Q1 because they came out to talk about Battle Hardened, which is going to be day 2 of callings going forward, is what they're going to be like renamed to. And in the breakdown, which I'll go over in a second, it explicitly says we have announcements upcoming about this, so be on the lookout for that. So they're not like ready to give you all the info, which leads me to believe it's not going to be within the first quarter.
That makes sense because they wouldn't want these battle-hardened events in different callings to step on the events that are going to exist for the LGSs that are running ProQuests.
Sure, you would rather you go to an LGS than go to your like Fireball Ran calling.
Right, which makes me think that callings are going to be quarter 2, quarter 4, and ProQuests, in-store ProQuests quarter 1, quarter 3. But that's a lot of, I mean, that's a lot of extrapolating of information to get to that thought process. So I that's a guess at best. But
yeah.
Battle hardened events also are different because they don't qualify for a specific pro tour. They just have the generic PTI invite attached, right?
Right. They're fungible from PT to PT or to nationals or whatever.
Right. Okay. So that's also different. So, because with the ProQuest, they're only qualifying you for Pro Tour 1. And the Battle Hardens would be your flexible invite.
Interesting.
And it does matter.
For sure.
It really does.
Sure.
It's definitely an interesting split. The Pro Tour is going to be in North America in the middle of this year. Was that in this article?
Yes.
Yeah, that was part of this.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be... where do you think they're going to put it? I think they're going to put it in Vegas.
Vegas would be a good spot. I can't think of any other, like, must-have plays. I mean, like, maybe, like, Indy gets the nod, right? Like...
They have enough space, yeah.
Yeah, because, like, the convention center there is massive.
I mean, do they have the audacity to put this PT at Gen Con?
I hope they don't, man.
I really hope they don't.
Oh my god, could you imagine?
Sadly, yes, and it's a shit show. So,
yeah, dude, big events behind cons are just a disaster.
Yes, you may be able to do this at like Origins, but
yeah. So like, there's been an SEG open at Origins before, and they worked it out so that buying an entry to the open got you a badge to Origins for that day, which was cool. But like, Gen Con, I feel like is a completely different bear in that regard.
It's too big.
Yeah,
but so like I guess my thought process for the locations, Vegas makes the most sense, although it's 1,000,000 degrees in Vegas in the middle of the year. Same story with Orlando. Your other places that are super easy to get to: Chicago, Denver, Atlanta. Basically, just thinking of travel hubs that make the most sense. But it may just
North
come
American Pro Tours. Where were they?
In Magic?
Yeah.
Everywhere.
LA,
they were
Milwaukee, right? Like they were everywhere, right?
Yeah, Milwaukee, LA, Pro Tour Minneapolis, Dallas. Okay. Yeah, they're everywhere. Okay. DFW is another one that's super easy for people to get to. So DFW makes enough sense too. Dallas Fort Worth for those that are not into airport codes. I'm an airport code. Yeah, I'm an airport code enthusiast. So, if
is their
exist,
PT system? Yeah, I don't know if that exists, but you might be the only one.
Ludacris is a zip code enthusiast, right? Or an area code enthusiast, one of the two.
My work actually runs cities based off of 3-digit airport codes.
Oh, so you are an enthusiast.
I am not an enthusiast, but I know some of them.
Perfect.
Do the PTs for, I guess we don't know yet, but do you expect that the PTs for Flesh and Blood will function similar to Magic, where you get the flight to wherever?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I don't think they'll include that. That just doesn't seem like the direction they want this to be, which was why it kind of leads me to believe that the PTs are not going to be in the pseudo exotic locales. Your Honolulus, your Kyotos, your things like that.
Sure.
I could see one being in Auckland easily. So, you have, Perth or Sydney or whatever. I could see those. And those, maybe that's where Worlds is, and Worlds comes with that off of a Worlds invite, but I don't know. But I would think that they would have announced that already to gear people up if they were doing it.
That's true. Yeah, I wonder what that does for wherever they host out of country attendees to the Pro Tours. I feel like that really hurts those scenes if they don't pay for it. But
yeah,
I guess it just is what it is.
Yeah, it is. So I like I said, I would think they would have announced a travel award already if there was one. I'd be happy if they obviously did have travel awards. I think that's great. I know a lot of people that got to see parts of the world they never would have seen had they not received a travel award for winning a PTQ. But yeah, I that's such a big thing to include, to generate excitement, to not announce like immediately.
Yeah, because that is a really cool. It would be under prizes, right? Like
You would think
awarded
so.
to one Pro Tour invite and travel award.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
It would just be right there. That's fair.
So our Reddit thread of the week is from Nixon in 3D. He's a new player looking for advice. The long story short, new player who was only playing Blitz decks at home in a casual environment. They want to start going to armory events at a local game store, and they've got cards to put together a classic constructed deck. They're looking for general advice for Flesh and Blood specific table etiquette, and then kind of some sideboarding guides as well. Jordan, you want to start on that?
I think with Fab, they asked for Fab specific table etiquette, and I can't think of anything in particular that this game does that you wouldn't otherwise do, like clear communication. You and your partner that play a lot might know what each other means when you do stuff. Just saying it more clearly or effectively, because you are talking to strangers most of the day, right? Is probably really important. Trying to think about a lot of people will track how many resources they have remaining with a dice by their pitch zone. I guess that's not something that you just played at home. Other than that, I feel like all of this stuff that happens at a card event just comes down to if you the person says they come from a Magic background, and if you've done that, then you're probably pretty aware, right, of
Yeah. So the biggest difference I've seen in this game is that this game mechanically has a lot more moving parts. So the intent gap becomes real. What you intended to do and the actions you took don't necessarily jive with each other. A good example is activating Crucible of Aetherweave is an instant, but it's an instant that affects your next attack. That doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense. So if somebody, were to play an instant and go and Aetherweave it, well, technically, they intended to pay for Aether Weave first because they want the effect on this attack or on this action, not attack. It's wizards; they don't attack. But they didn't do it in that order mechanically. So that's where etiquette-wise, if you're sitting at a competitive constructed event, you're not going to get it. But sitting in a learning environment of the casual events, that's one of the okay, I know what you're trying to do. Here's what you actually did, and just kind of accept those little pieces of advice as they come. Like, people a lot of time put the card in their pitch zone to pay for a cost before announcing the card. That's backwards. It's announce the card, pitch to pay the cost.
Yeah.
And it's those little things like that where just kind of be mechanically as sound as you can, but don't be alarmed if somebody tries to help you with your mechanics, because I still make mechanical mistakes all the time in this game, and I've been playing for a little bit, so not as long as Jordan, who started in 2013
years.
Yeah. So that's one of the bigger things. Also, and a lot of people like doing this, and I don't exactly I guess I have some problems with it at some points and not some on others. Don't relitigate the game after it's done necessarily. I mean, if you want to talk about specific plays, great. And where they wound up, affecting the game, cool. But don't complain about a loss, or, I had X percentage to draw this card and I just didn't do it and blah, blah, blah. I should have won this. No, don't do that. Like, a game, any card game, any game really has a level of variance, and just accept it. Understand that sometimes you're just not going to draw what you need. It's going to happen. So just accept variance as it comes. And sometimes it's really cool to sit down and talk about like an epic exchange of attack and defense reactions, or, somebody setting up a big turn that really became a turning point of the game. Those kind of things are cool to talk about, but don't talk about how, it makes people really uncomfortable when you're kind of insinuating that that you only lost because of how bad your deck treated you and your opponent did nothing right. Like, don't do that. Like, your opponent played a game too, and they played it well enough to win. So just respect that.
Yeah. As far as other Fab specific stuff, I don't know. Ab, what do you think?
I don't really know. The only thing I can think of, and Jordan and I went through this when we first started playing, the discard pile and the what's it called?
The pitch zone?
No, it's not exile. What's
the banish?
Banish.
Yeah.
However they're supposed to be, Jordan and I were not comfortable with. Like, it wasn't.
Oh, just from like a mechanics perspective?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Because I don't know about you, look. I put my exile on top of my deck in Magic, like behind it.
It's been a while since I had anything exiled. Yes, that is how I do it. I put exile at top. You are right. In Magic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It threw me for only 4 years.
Yeah, I guess the way that I trained myself out of that was playing Chain, because whenever I played Dredge in Magic, I flipped the cards for Dredge just straight to the bottom of my deck, which is where the Banish Zone is. All right, well, that worked out.
Yeah, so that was the only thing when we started, and then I just tried to get in the habit of, like, announcing that if I was playing with someone that, like, I thought might not know what I was doing, just be like, hey, like, I play these opposite, are you okay with that? Just so that they don't think I'm just, like, discarding everything into my Banish Zone, and then they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But other than that, like, I don't really have anything else. I mean, I think we've covered.
I think that's a very
basics.
Good point, though. Like, so, I've also seen people who pitch cards not to their pitch zone, but they put them just below the combat chain. So, and that's kind of how they observe where their resources are. So I think just communicating at any point in time where, I guess all of this just comes down to communication, right? But communicating, any small changes you're making to the way that the mechanics of the game normally function is just crucial. So just if you have something that you do a little bit different, just kind of tell people, hey, I do this a little bit differently, and ask if they're okay with it. Yeah, be like that.
Exactly. Most important part is talking with your opponent. And then even more important than that is, regardless of who your opponent is, talking to them all the same.
Yes. Yes. Treat every opponent exactly the same and treat them with respect and dignity.
Right. You don't have to be best friends, but you have to be civil.
Cordial.
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 That's a better word. All right. Jordan, anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's.
All right.
I think that's it. I don't even know if we answered his question directly, but I think I liked what we talked about.
It's all the word advice. I did what I could. Fuck. Like, come on, man. I'm not Dear Abby. That's wait, that wow, that
I'm
actually,
also not Dear Abby.
Are you sure?
I am not. I am terrible at advice. Don't ask me questions.
She's the most widely syndicated columnist in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. That yes, I do. It's one of those things where Iowans have very little to lean on, so we just learn facts about famous Iowans when we're in like middle school. So
gotcha. Okay.
So you learn shit about Johnny Carson and John Wayne and the Van Buren sisters and, all that fun stuff. And it's just like, none of this actually matters, but it's great for Jeopardy eventually.
We've gotten so far off again. Okay, so we asked our Discord a question this week, and it is, how do you organize your collection? So I'm going to start with Logan. Currently, how is your collection organized?
So currently it is organized in a BCW card house. Shouts out to Rick at BCW. And it's organized by hero type. So the Ranger box has Ranger and Elemental Ranger in it. The Guardian box would have, Guardian and Elemental Guardian. The Runeblade box has Runeblade and Shadow Runeblade, et cetera down the line. I decided that I didn't like that system and took one of the suggestions from our Discord people and listeners, Josh, and am now working diligently to get them into a binder for each set and to make it far easier to track. And it's going to move all of my bulk into the card house. So I have struggled organizing this game now since I've started playing it. Nothing has felt good or made sense. This is much closer to comfortable at this point, but yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, we've changed ours a couple times. Jordan, you want to walk through what ours looks like currently?
Yeah, sure. So right now we have super rares and up are in a binder separated by class. And currently that all fits in one binder. And then we have commons through rares in big cardboard boxes sorted by class first and then alphabetical. And then by pitch, obviously. But I don't like it. I'm thinking I'm going to follow the Josh /Teague / now Logan method and do the separate binders for each set. We've talked about doing binders per class.
Oof, and that's a lot of binders.
Yeah. And then each binder would be sorted by set. That because that way you don't
have to reorg it every time a new set comes out.
Right.
Yeah,
it'd be by set alphabetically. But I think it's 13 binders.
Yep.
And I don't even think I was just going down the list in the Flesh and Blood chat section, you probably don't need a merchant binder, probably don't need well, I don't know. There's a lot of binders.
Yeah, it's a lot of binders.
The upfront cost is massive.
Yeah.
It
cost me, I bought 6 binders because 5 sets plus Everfest, so I'll have everything I need through Everfest. And I bought Voltex binders off of Amazon, and it was $160 something for 6 binders. So that's not so bad, but you turn that 6 into a 13, and I'm crying at the fact that that's probably a case of WTR or something that I just spent on binders.
Yeah. You said Vortex binders?
Vault X.
Vault X.
Yeah. They have 6 colors exactly. So that was a good starting point.
Okay, I've seen these. All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're pretty high quality, honestly. I'm not sad by them by stretch of the imagination. So, okay.
Did you just get the 360 or did you get the 480?
360, I believe.
The 9 pocket.
The 9 pocket. Yep.
Yeah. For some other ideas, Sleepy Jackal does the way we do it.
Sleeper Jackal?
Sleeper Jackal. Somebody just made him sleepy instead of sleeper.
God, Jordan.
Wow.
He's a sleepy boy.
He's a sleepy boy. At this point. And that sounds a lot like what you were doing, right?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what that is what I transitioned to, because I saw that and it was easy to go from what I was doing to that. What we were doing before I read Sleeper Jackal's suggestion was only commons were in the boxes and rares were in the binder. And I think rares is a bit of a misnomer coming from like the Magic world.
They're uncommons.
Yeah, they're uncommons. And when you have we were doing this last night. I have 12 of each Blender run. They're not rare, you know. Like, they can just go in the box.
It hurt my soul when I was actually sorting my foils and found out I had a full set of Plunder Run foils that are now worthless. Fantastic.
Yeah. Now they're 10 cents a piece.
Yeah, but foils, like, that's another thing, though, is foils for me do not go in the binder as part of the sets.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They're off on their own. The only foils that go in the binder is if I need a foil to be my 3rd copy of a card.
Okay.
Otherwise, they just are off on their own.
Are they just in a foil box?
Yeah, I have a 1,200 count box that is packed absolutely full of foils. So if you need any foils, just reach out to me on our Discord, because I probably fucking have it.
Sure.
But yes, so foils, I think I'm like 8 cards off or less of a full foil set of 1st edition Aria, and then I have a stack of 200 Aria foils. It's just like, Jesus, okay. But I don't want to play with foils unless I don't have an option. So like some things, like playing Eye of Ophidia, you know, there's only foil.
Right. Right.
But I otherwise, you know, because it goes back to Magic again, where when you played foils in your deck, you had a risk of them being treated as marked cards unless your entire deck was foil, because they're slightly thicker, there's some curving issues, whatever. And my brain will never go away from that. So it's either got to be all foil or not foil. Like, that's just the way it is.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I
have a similar thought process to that. Once you see a guy get a game loss or a match loss for marked cards, you know, you kind of
or in this case, an intellect penalty, which just feels like a game loss.
Yeah. You draw 1 less card, the game's over.
Yeah, for 3 turns. Ouch. That might not work out. And I love how they call it an intellect penalty. It's like, God, you're stupid. You know, it's a dunce cap. And I'm just like, wow, that is just brutal. It's like, put on the dunce cap, idiot. It's like, wow, intellect penalty. That's a cute way of saying that.
That's so funny. I don't know, Abby. If I said, "Hey, I'm going to buy these binders right now," what would you think?
Okay.
Do you think it's better than what we currently do, or what do you think?
I think that 13 binders is too many binders.
I meant the set system.
6 binders.
So it'd be 6
binders. Yes, I would like that.
Better than what we currently do?
Yes.
Snap it off. Like, there you go. One thing. I got one thing to really complain about this, though. And that's how the sets are organized by collector number. What the fuck, LSS? Like, I don't know if you
unintuitive. I haven't looked at collector number really.
Okay, I'm going to pull out my WTR binder right now, and I'm going to look. So the first things we have is we have Brute to start, which okay, fine. And so it's Reinar Adult, Reinar Young, Romping Club, and then we have the two pieces of Brute equipment, which are Scab Skin Leathers and Barkbone Strapping. Which one of these do you think intuitively would come first?
Let's say them again.
Barkbone Strapping and Scab Skin Leathers.
Barkbone Strapping.
And you're wrong.
Because the other one's a legendary, do they go higher on the list?
Exactly.
Oh.
So it goes by rarity and then by action type.
What?
So attack actions have a higher set number, are first, and then non-attack actions, then defense reactions, then attack reactions, I believe. And maybe it's attack reactions, then defense reactions. So it is not pure alphabetical.
What?
Ew.
I honestly thought that I was tripping balls accidentally or something when I was going through the list, and then I started looking at the numbers. I'm like, nope, that's exactly how this works. This is just a total shit show. Well, that's cute. And then on top of that, for the official system for LSS, its generics are last, and they just made a couple of like alphabetical errors when they were putting the galleries together. And so just like inexplicably, a card that starts with S that's the same type as another card that starts with R is first because they just messed up in their collation.
What?
And it's just like, but it's on the bottom, like you just look at the number and it's like, okay, well that doesn't make any sense. So you definitely need a guide to tell you how to start the process. I just use the card galleries that are on Fab's website for collector number and went from there. Because I was just like, this doesn't make any sense as looking at the cards themselves.
Have you debated just doing it alphabetically?
I did.
I get why the gamer appeal, the collector gamer appeal, to do it by set number, like for sure.
And I understand now that if I'm looking for a card where I need to look for it in the binder after having bindered it, but yeah, I was actually super tempted to just say fuck it and do it alphabetically, but I also knew that at some point in time I'd look down at the Barkbone Strapping being card 5 and the Scab Skin Letters being card 4 and have them inverted and go, God, I can't do this, and I just had to fucking fix it anyway.
Yeah, you just kind of see them out of order, even if it's an order you don't like, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, it would just drive me nuts, and I'd probably either start drinking or start organizing. And if I started drinking, I'd probably then start organizing, at which point now I'm trying to organize while drinking. I mean, none of this turns out good for anybody.
Jesus. Well, I just bought 6 binders.
Yay!
We did it.
$116.04 will be delivered Tuesday.
Nagralma, Josh, you have changed our lives.
What colors are they?
Yellow, white, red, green, blue, black.
Currently, I am black for WTR, blue for Arcane Rising. Green is Monarch. Yellow is Crucible. And white will be Aria. And we're saving red for Everfest.
I would say red definitely has to be Everfest.
Yeah.
I like green for Aria.
The cards kind of have a whitish border.
Oh, that's a good point.
For all the elemental stuff they did, yeah.
Okay. All right. We've got to move this along. Listener questions. We have 2. The first one is from C-Dubs. Game interest continues to decline at some local game stores. Who bears the brunt of that? Is it LSS, the local game store, the Omicron variant, or some combo of that? Logan, you want to start?
I feel like I'm pretty well on record at this point describing that I think that LSS dropped the ball quite a bit when they had a lot of momentum, and by not saying anything about what 2022 was going to look like for months, that they did a little bit of hamstringing themselves. Also, just in a complete aside, I think that adding to this list is not necessarily the LGSs, but the distributors. So recently, we had not seen an armory kit in my area in months, right? We missed out on Holiday, we missed out on Briar, we missed out on Valda, and we're just like, what the hell happened? Then suddenly, this past week, they literally all three showed up at the same time to that LGS in January, along with the welcome to or farewell to Wraith kit that they didn't know they were getting, that they just hadn't scheduled an event for because nothing had showed up and they hadn't heard anything. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well, where, you know, we're seeing events now just randomly start popping up that we didn't think were happening because the kits for these events just didn't show up until way later. That being said, I think that as far as Omicron variant and COVID in general goes, it's a lot of people's risk appetites are just very, very different. And so some places are definitely going to be experiencing a drop in attendance due to heightened COVID infections and stuff like that as well. So I think it's a bit of a combo, but I think the LGSs themselves are not really in that group of people to blame, or group of groups. God, I fucking hate myself now for saying that. To blame. Group of entities. There we go. Nailed it. I think it's the LSS, the distributors, and this dumb fucking disease that has ruined our lives for the past 2 years.
Gordon?
I think that's, I mean, when we talked about this question in Discord, I think that's exactly like what I came down on as well. Communication from the flagship company would be great. You know, are we getting callings in Q1 of 2022, or are we left to speculate? What does local game store support look like? I don't think local game stores have too much of a burden to bear with the fact that a disease has ravaged the world, and the company that is like running this game that is very focused on literal brick and mortar play has been relatively silent about how to like combat that. And like Logan said, I think risk thresholds are just such a personal thing that it's, you know, it's possible a bunch of stores have people with very high risk thresholds. Like I know I'm shutting it down from local events until Welcome to Wraith Farewell Draft start. And then I'm going to shut it down until Pro Tours start, PTQ start. So I think communication from LSS that it was like November was the last time we had a big news drop from them, you know? So I definitely think that most of it is all on LSS, and I don't think you can place any blame on the LGS or players, but Omicron definitely didn't help LSS. That's where I'm at.
Agreed. All right. Question number 2 is from Blitzmonkey. What is the process to go through in order to separate knee-jerk reactions from legitimate criticism? For example, deciding if a deck is truly unplayable due to a nerf, or is it still viable after a banning announcement?
So separating the Briar is dead from, hey, maybe we can like just chill for a second and re-examine Briar. And how do you separate whether like saying Briar is dead is a silly thing to say, like, or like an overreaction, versus no, like this is a thoughtful consideration of Briar's stance in the upcoming meta. I don't think that you can have legitimate criticism until you've like played the decks in their new environment, or like at least done some actual theory crafting. Anything that was said on day one of the bannings and restricted announcement, the errata announcement, was a knee-jerk reaction, right? Because simply no one had like theory crafted what a new Briar deck would look like, or played games with these theory crafted decks. But as we get more into like the new era of Briar, it becomes more and more possible as you get more data. I think it just comes from the place of whether the person is coming from a data-backed mindset or not. And with a lot of people, they're probably not, right? Until we get some like tournament results that trickle in.
Yeah. So by the very essence of a knee-jerk reaction, it's an uncontrollable reaction, right? It's an initial hot take, first pass. So I guess the way to separate from your initial knee-jerk reactions to legit criticism is, like you just said, as a data-driven person as well. It's you identify, you test, you retest, and then you come to conclusions through data and what you've learned. You don't go and just say, well, they done fucked that up. No. I mean, the only thing they fucked up is making my dust blades worth less. But at this point, your separation has to come from questioning the reaction. It's okay. I had this reaction. This is what I thought in the moment. Now, as impartially as possible, try to examine what caused that reaction, and then use your ability to think through that, at the very least in a theory crafting mindset, to say, okay, so is this actually true? And then you go through, it's like, is Plunder Run being banned going to kill Briar? Okay. Knee-jerk reaction, are there cards that can pseudo-replace Plunder Run in spots? Yeah, there are. Are they as good? No. But the fact that they are not, the ultimate thing that happened is that banning Plunder Run made other cards more playable and Briar, a little more fair. Does that kill a deck? No, people thought that Chain was dead, and Chain has been putting up results again because they thought that Seeds of Agony not being in the deck just made it unplayable, and the deck just had to pivot. It takes time. So the knee-jerk reactions and separating them is very difficult because it takes a lot of introspection, and then getting past that and understanding why you had the reaction and then questioning the reaction.
Yeah.
Was that too much? Was that?
No, I think that's no, I think you helped a person walk through the steps of, especially if you're like a Redline Briar player, right?
Yeah.
I think that's an important thing to walk through.
It felt like a fucking TED talk. I don't ever talk that sober, for God's sakes. I mean, come on. That's not me.
Well, and I think there's a lot of people that are playing Fab that are first time, like either TCG players or card game players as a whole. And that is probably an important thing. Like, oh, you can have, if you've bought into Briar and you feel like your deck is dead now, it's the first time that you've ever had a bunch of investments invalidated by a company.
Yeah, I guess we do have a very,
perspective.
We have a very thick callus, don't we?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I remember when Mox Opal got banned, and I just looked at my pretties and went, "Sorry, girls, you're gonna have to go into the dark place."
Yeah, I mean, and especially since you and I are fortunate to be in an economic position where it doesn't affect us as much to have purchases invalidated by this. But if you're a person that invests a considerable amount of your extra money, like your disposable income on this, that would be brutal, and a knee-jerk reaction, like you said, is uncontrollable and reasonable. It's just on how you respond from that too. So, yeah, I definitely get that. Especially if this is, like you said, the first time, and you didn't own all of the cards to Splinter Twin. It's enough Magic talk.
Yes, it is. Okay, so it is time to announce our giveaway winner for the Rainbow Foil Courage of Bladehold. The winner is E&D. So if you could shoot us a DM on Twitter, if we haven't DM'd you already, to get that address so that we can get it shipped out. We would like someone to actually claim the prize. We haven't had that happen yet. So please get back to us on that. We'll be announcing our next giveaway next week. So on the show on the 25th. So be on the lookout for that. As always, you can find us on...
Hold on. We did DM him. So.
Okay, so then check your DMs.
Yeah. Please, God.
Please,
I want to give something away.
Yeah.
He wants to give away the things that are sitting in my binders.
Yeah, I want to give the things that we're giving away. I see that you retweeted something on the 13th of this month, so you used your Twitter. So
yes,
please God,
just say the thing, and we will send you a lovely, lovely gift.
Of a
and then we should probably ask the people. If you're in our Discord, if you're not, answer this in there. If you're not in our Discord, get in the fucking Discord, shit ass. But
Bitch ass. What a name.
Yes, get in the skull pit, shit ass. But it's a lot of WoW talk at some points in time. But we should probably ask what kind of thing would they like us to give away. What would you like? Would you
like say like an unopened box of Welcome to Wraith Alpha?
Yeah, I mean, be reasonable. I mean, being unreasonable is left to the podcast host. We get our parlance for doing this, so let us be the unreasonable ones and just be reasonable. Is there a specific cold foil promo that you would like? Or just cold foil promos in general? Do you want sealed product? Do you want accessories? What are you thinking? And just reach out to us and let us know. And like I said, we're not made of money. Just be reasonable.
Yeah. So let us know in the Discord, and then we'll announce it next week. As always, you can find us on Twitter at FleshPod. You can join our Discord. God, the link will be in the show notes. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple. You can subscribe on wherever you listen to podcasts. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. I think that's all of the places.
We're start video content soon, right? Is that a thing?
I think that's the plan. Yeah,
I'm still waiting for my stylist.
You're such a fucking diva that you've alienated 2/3 of Western Europe. Do you know how hard it is to find a stylist for you right now, Abby? Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus. There's a goddamn pandemic, Abby.
Man, have a little tact, okay?
Nope.
God.
Can't do it.
No, we are going to add faces to the podcast for YouTube people, and then there is going to be additional YouTube content is the plan.
So, like and subscribe on YouTube. If you don't use any of that, you can email us at fleshandpod@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is at AbbyD83. Is that right? I don't even know. It's in the... I don't tweet. It's in the Flesh and Pod show notes. It's in there. I think we established last week you can DM me on Discord, or you can just talk to the chat with everyone else. That's probably an easier way to get a response to any sort of questions that you may have.
I am on Twitter at I'mJerman. Always tweeting Flesh and Blood or politics or mostly just my daily Wordle score right now. Otherwise, though, DM me on Discord if you want to get a hold of us. That is probably the best way to get a hold of me right now. But hope to chat.
Yeah, I am at Logan Peterson on Twitter, LOGANPETERSEN, or you can I also check the Flesh and Blood Twitter, so I can respond there. I'm also very active in the Discord. I have yet to fail a Wordle. I've had a couple of close calls, but I've been Wordling daily with the rest of... This is the sourdough starter of the Omicron variant, I'm pretty sure. Or Tiger King. What are the other things that were just like pandemics all-stars? Like the stupid TikTok Applebee's shit.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of things, but at any rate, this is that now, and it's actually just kind of enjoyable because it's just like 7 minutes of my day that kind of wake me up, so I kind of enjoy it. You'll see me posting about Wordle, sports, politics, this game, occasionally some Magic Finance stuff because I can't seem to get away from it. That's mostly what I'm going to talk about. Jordan and I will go back and forth on baseball a bit and how much we hate the designated hitter, so you'll get to see that.
Should be a crime.
But yeah, that's where you find me.
Well, as always, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Hey everybody, I know that you were looking forward to hearing an outtake with me and Brian Kibler story. Unfortunately, the part of that audio that we set up didn't come out clearly and had some audio missing, which unfortunately happens time to time with the system that we use to record audio. But we are going to work on getting that story out there because it actually is genuinely hilarious, despite being very embarrassing for me. So if you listened through the music, sorry for the debate and not having the story that we promised, but I didn't want to just not put it in there and kind of leave you out to dry. So enjoy the rest of the song.